Hello, welcome back to another video. So just as the weather improves, I was going to go out and make a new video, and of course we've all got to stay indoors. Strange times indeed. So I don't know how you've been spending your time, but I found myself on eBay late at night looking at all the dinky die-cast toys that I used to have when I was a kid, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and thinking, click, click, drone. Shall I click? Shall I buy it? Anyway, I ended up buying one of them, didn't I? And I'm not joking, it arrives next week. I'll show it to you in a video. You think to yourself, why did I let my nephews and nieces play with these toys that are now worth like 150, 200 pound in good condition? You just think, why did I do it? But I'm sure you've had the same thing where the stuff you had as a kid, you just let it go. So, as you will notice from the thumbnail, this week's video is West Mine at Alderley Edge. Last year we did Engine Vein Mine at Alderley Edge, we did Wood Mine, and then in September last year we did West Mine. Now these are abandoned copper mines, and we were taken round on an open day by the Derbyshire Caving Club. Because it was an open day, I took quite a few of my friends down, so you'll hear a few of us talking and laughing in the background. So the place was massive. We were down there about 4 or 5 hours, honestly. Well, this is the final of the mines. John takes us round, as he has done with the other mine videos. So this is West Mine, Alderley Edge. I hope you enjoy. Filmed in September last year when things were normal. Hope you enjoy. So that's carbide in there. Okay, just before we get in the mine, Chris from the Derbyshire Caving Club had an antique miner's lamp, and it works off this carbide. I was fascinated with it, but when you think about the big torches we had, and you'll see the little light it gives off, this is all the miners had back in the day. I think this lamp dates back to about the 1900s, but a fascinating little antique piece. Take a look at this. Right, so it's like stone, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely stinks as well.
Does it? And this is what the miners used back in the early 1900s. Yeah. So you put that in the base of your lamp. You pour water in the top of your lamp.
Without spilling it too much. I've got too much.
And you assemble your lamp.
Make sure it's tight on.
Yeah. You release the water into the carbide.
You can hear it bubbling away now.
You can, and you can smell it.
Yeah, I know you do.
And that creates a settling gas, does it? Ooh, amazing. Can we see that again? Like a little lighter, isn't it? Brilliant. And that's what they worked with down the mine back in the day. That is corking. Hello, my name is Martin and welcome back to another video. So, I'm here in Alderley Edge, and we're going to complete the Alderley Edge mine trilogy. So, 3 mines at Alderley Edge. We've done Engine Vein Mine, we've done Wood Mine, and now the final is the biggest mine of all, which is West Mine. The entrance is a kind of a manhole, which you would suggest that I'm used to, but I didn't expect this quite.
All that land going off that way was a massive quarry, with an
Here we go.
coming in there. So we'll go up to the brick wall.
I really didn't expect this sort of entrance, to be honest with you. There's about 10 of us today that have come down on a bit of a trip. I've invited a few people on this trip. Like I say, West Mine, never been before, and we're straight into it.
So, car at the bottom, you drop the ore down into the car. All by hand and hot house.
Did it ever cave in on people?
So we're just in the mine, and as per usual, the features are cropping up. So John will say to you, do you want to do the traverse? So I don't like the sound of it, but we're going to go and have a look at the traverse. If I think about it too much, I won't want to do it. Copper on the left here, you see? All the copper deposits on the left here, can you see that? All the green. I'll turn the camera around for you. So as we descend deeper into the mine, we're heading towards this traverse, and obviously I'm full of intrepidation, wondering what the hell we're going to encounter. The very name traverse is scary.
You okay, Martin?
Jesus. So this is the traverse, as you can see. My biggest problem with these obstacles and sort of playground features is I'm carrying lights and cameras and all the gear that I've got in a backpack. That's what hinders me.
You'll need a bag.
So this is the traverse. As you can see, there's a drop and we have to hold onto a rope and walk along the side of a cliff. Not what I had planned.
Hold on to the yellow rope tighter.
As per usual, so I managed the traverse, but because everyone's moving onwards, I didn't get a chance to get filmed doing it. Anyway, we're now dropping down a ladder into what they call the Cathedral, so I'm guessing on some kind of big chamber we're going to see.
It's kind of
then go left foot first.
So it's all right.
The thing about it is, when you look at how everyone's coming down there, using the makeshift steps, this is how it would have been. Don't know if back in the day, in Victorian times, when the miners mined this place, whether there would have been a rope there or not. Original wheelbarrow wheel. What do you reckon, Victorian?
Probably that sort of era.
Well. So this vast chamber that we're in is a kind of, it's been mined, all the copper in here has been mined out. But they've put an incline sort of plane in here with cables on for the trucks. And it literally went that way down there, as you can see. Whoa, look at that. That's amazing. We're getting a shot of that. Can we get a shot of that again? Brilliant. So the trucks came up and down here, hauled on cables to haul the ore out, out of the mine. Down there, you can see where the cables rubbed against the wall. And again, pick marks here from the excavation, the original excavation. So Victorian works that would it have been?
Late Victorian, coming into the
1900s.
Early 1900s.
Right, right. So when did they close as a working mine?
Officially 1936.
Really?
It was being worked, its main working period here was between 1858 and 1878.
Right.
Under the Alderley Edge Mining Company,
yeah.
Formed by a guy called James Michell. He was killed in 1878 rather, and the Alderley Edge Mining Company continued. They didn't really bring too much material out in the later years, and they were trialling it sort of around wartime, early First World War, looking for material, see if it was worth it.
Wow.
And eventually just gave up and said it wasn't worth it.
Right.
So in 1936 they officially gave up, abandoned, and walked away from the mines.
And then of course, as we know, the mines were open for years, and then the local council came and tried to fill them in by dumping rubbish in here that the Derbyshire Caving Club have since took out and opened them up and now shore up the mines, look after them on behalf of National Trust.
You look down here and it's much wider. And this was the 1920s era when they were exploring, looking for ore and looking for different veins. So this was actually a high explosive blasting rather than black powder.
All right.
And they drove it off. There's a few tunnels going off. It doesn't go to anything.
Right.
But during World War II, they actually investigated this area as a possible air raid shelter.
Wow.
And then realised there was actually only one entrance. And that probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
The club originally dropped in through a little hole and knocked a hole through the top up there.
Yeah.
And came down the wall and used to come in. They then realised they could actually get into a chamber just to the side.
Yeah.
And then found the way up through a shaft up to surface.
Right.
So that was then sealed off and we've got the old entrance.
Right, so what's this, John? A railway? This would have been a railway?
Yeah, the railway incline that goes down towards Plank Shaft. If you think as well, the weight in the cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Some engine and cable.
Yeah.
So we're following the route of a cable-hauled tramway here down to Plank Shaft.
Plank Shaft.
Which is from your book. Weirdstone Brisingamen.
Right, so the book. Yeah, some of you may or may not have read it, the book, The Weirdstone of Brisingamen. It's a book I read when I was a kid. It's based down here around Alderley Edge, and it's to do with all the mythology around here, the wizards and the goblins that live in these mines, apparently. And there's a chapter called Plank Shaft. I meant to read it before I came, but I didn't. Probably best that I didn't. But Plank Shaft was set where we're going to now, and this is where we're going to. It's called Plank Shaft. Like I say, it's a John special because he just gives you a name, and then you get very scared and you have to walk to it. So we're going to Plank Shaft. It's bloody exhausting down here, I tell you.
It is.
So this is Plank Shaft.
The club
Finally.
put a bridge over it.
Right.
But it used to be a single railway sleeper.
So that what we're about to see used to just be a plank.
So those miners back in the day were brave, because I wouldn't have wanted to walk across that deep shaft just on something the size of a railway sleeper or a plank. Not for me, thank you very much.
It's a Sphinx chamber and not where we've just been.
Right. Wow.
So when the mine closed, this was originally just a plank across here.
Yeah.
In the 1930s, the late 1930s, there was loads of groups that used to come in exploring, and one of the groups, one of the lads fell off the plank. And fell all the way down to the bottom of the shaft.
Yeah.
And his two friends had to abseil down to rescue him.
Bloody hell.
And when they pulled him back out, he was actually paralysed. We'd heard about it, an accident, but the guy actually contacted the club a few years ago, emailed us about it and sent us the news article when it happened.
Wow.
So this was the problem, there was two lads who got lost in here.
Yeah.
Sadly they were found with a note that they'd written to the mother.
Because they
They
thought
used
they
to
were
come
going
in
to
with
die.
bike lights,
Yeah.
and the batteries had died. But they had no food, no water, no light. We're stuck in a very awkward place.
Okay, so this isn't actually a coffin. We think it might be a very old tool chest, but it looks like a coffin. Probably a bit of a foreshadowing of what's to come.
But it goes round to the left and then turns again to the right and apparently goes to a waterfall. What's someone been in there?
Wow.
So we keep trying to figure out a way of getting in there without destroying it, but
Yeah.
we haven't come across any solution yet.
I take it the water runs when there's been rain up top?
Yes. It doesn't flow out anymore. We've not seen it flowing for a very long time, but
Right.
it does flood up in there a little bit.
Right.
That's why it's
Incredible,
so
isn't
green.
So, some newspapers, old newspapers buried in the sand here. So what's the story behind them, John?
When the mines were open years ago, cavers would come in exploring and they'd camp down here for the weekend.
Yeah.
And this is like one of the camping spots. They might have read the newspaper.
Right.
And down there you probably don't want to go because it's what they used as a
Toilet.
toilet.
So these newspapers are old, are they?
Very old. There's one there about Castro.
Really?
Don't know if you can get that on you. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we need to get a date, don't we?
There is a day.
So it says Wednesday, August the 1959.
1959.
Good God, 1959.
It says April 24th, 1959.
What was that one? So Brad's got one here.
April 24th, 1959.
59?
Yeah.
I will say one thing.
Bloody hell.
You find to go, just don't go digging in the back. 60 years.
6 years.
Yeah, 1959, 60 years old these newspapers are. Incredible. But of course there's nothing to disturb them. They're just lost in the sand here down a mine. If you take a look at Brad here stood on these rocks, it just gives you the impression of how large some of these caverns in this mine are. So, shaft of 1,000 planks, another feature down here. Let's take a look at it. Yeah. So how deep are we now?
Probably about 80-ish foot.
Right.
Above, where you can see up to the timber,
Yeah.
there's an horseshoe on the top of that.
Right.
And about 15 feet above that is the Yorkstone capping.
Right.
When I eventually can be bothered again, I'll go back up.
Up there.
Yeah, I put this rope up to get up there.
Did you?
It's very wet.
So the timbers there, are they Victorian?
They're original timbers. Yeah.
Really? Wow. And so we drop down deeper into the mine. Ladders and shafts everywhere. And if you want to take a look at these mines, if you contact the Derbyshire Caving Club, if you look them up online, they will gladly give you a guided tour of these mines. And you're in safe hands because they know them really, really well. And curiously, in this area here, they bring kids down here on the guided tours, and the kids build sandcastles, which is quite nice. So, lots of features down here, things to have a go at, a bit like a playground, underground playground, a horrific underground playground. That there, that hole in the wall, in the mine, is what they call the toilet seat. I'm going to have a go at going through it without making a fool of myself in front of all these people. Let's go for it, shall we? So first off, Brad has a go and shows how it's done. Now, you're not that high up, but it's quite steep and you've got to watch your footing. But you'll see he gets to the hole and goes straight through, no problems at all. It's alright when you're Brad. And then I have a go. Please don't laugh. But I couldn't work out how to get through that hole. I got my shoulders stuck. I couldn't get that arm through then. Anyway, in the end, John came along and rather unceremoniously just pushed me through, and it was the best thing he could have done because I managed to get through the hole. But you can see me hanging there. Not good for my street cred, that is it at all. That was the toilet seat. I've never felt so incapable in my entire life. Felt like, well, I struggled getting through. I had to be pushed through in the end because you can't get both arms through. It's so difficult. Yeah, in for a penny, eh?
The world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I suppose we'll end with that.
The American Army used to be based at Assel Park in Chelford and used to come exploring in their off times. So part of it is we've got an American GI helmet and the reflector off the back of the truck as well, which is slowly rotting away.
That's this thing here?
Yeah.
Wow.
The best bit was when they left Assel Park, they never took all their equipment with them, including the vehicles, weapons, munitions. Local farmers got left with all the vehicles, and they apparently filled 2 shafts in the field next to Engine Vane with vehicles and armour plating because they couldn't sell it, they couldn't do anything with it.
Wow.
So they filled up 2 shafts with it. the munitions they put onto a big pontoon, floated it out into a lake and sank it. And it's at the back of one of our club members' house.
Really?
And the owner of the hall was dredging the lake to restore it. And when they were dredging it, they kept finding all sorts of bombs and crates of rifle ammunition. And they washed a big section of the river at the back away. So they started restoring the river. And as they were digging, they noticed all these little milk bottles about this size floating about. What the hell are they? Thought it's just rubbish. And when they started scraping the bank with a digger, there's huge showers of white sparks. And they were little milk bottles full of white phosphorus.
Right. Wow.
So, yeah, the bomb squad were called to dispose of it all. One of them apparently set himself on fire.
Joking.
And then they came back with rubber suits and took the rest away.
So another trick that John, our guide, had up his sleeve, a nice semi-vertical shaft with a rope in it to climb up. It wasn't too bad because you could wedge your feet in and sort of climb up. It was at the top you got a bit stumped.
Leave by the gift shop.
Who's next? Anyone?
Martin? Yeah.
So, is it running? Yeah, have you got the
Yeah.
dot? Right, shitting hell. Here we go. I'm really not looking forward to this. Right. Can I just get rid of this? Dun, dun, dun. Do you want time to go around?
Right, we'll see.
Shit. How the bleeding hell did you get up this last bit here?
Just pull yourself up using the rope.
That's a complete and utter bitch, isn't it?
I can wedge your ass in it, it's easy when you get your ass in it.
So any particular name for this one, John?
No, it's just a hole in the floor.
See, easy then, eh? I'll take it, we've got to go down this way,
Yeah,
backwards.
backwards.
Okay.
And then as you get through, you'll see it and drop down.
Ah, there's a hole in the floor. They're just jumping forward.
Head first, yeah. You could have worn matching socks.
So 3 levels.
So this is known as, or nicknamed as the Abyss.
Yeah,
So you've got 3 working levels where they were working the beds of copper,
yeah.
and then all the way along there are ore chutes disappearing off to the left to drop down onto the main level below.
Wow. Wow.
But you look at it now and there's almost no evidence of copper, and you think, well, what on earth were they?
And of course, after the mines were abandoned and when they lay open before the Derbyshire Caving Club took over, the local council just dumped rubbish in there. So there's a vast array of quite unusual, I suppose, former rubbish, but now antique bottles and things that they've found in there.
Right, that's it, perfect colour. So this is what they call Roman Gallery. This is incredible, just take a look at this. I can't go too near the edge, this is amazing, look at this. Ooh.
The slots in the wall opposite would have been matched on this side, and they would have put wood in there and made a platform, and that's where they would have worked and mined the copper on some kind of platform. And so finally we begin our ascent and we start to leave the mine. I think we were down there a good 4-5 hours. It's such a massive mine. I had to cut lots out because we were walking for a long time down lots of passageways, but finally we will leave the mine now.
Come on, Gary, hurry up. Whoa. Wow, that was incredible. The thing about the mine being all the way underneath Alderley Edge, you've got to make sure you don't come up in David Beckham's back garden. You in the comments, you don't live in Alderley Edge anymore. Anyway, that was amazing. West Mine, fantastic. There you go. Like I say, it really is like an underground adventure playground, isn't it? If you want to take a look round the mines when things are back to normal, if you Google the Derbyshire Caving Club, or you go to this website, I'll put it on here somewhere, the Derbyshire Caving Club, you can arrange a tour and they'll take you around as well and you can take a look at one of the mines. So there you go. Hopefully I'll continue to try and get videos out during these weird times. Take care, and I shall hopefully see you very soon in the next video. Bye for now.